I always drive past this place in the morning going to work and see the sunrise over it and think how awesome it would be to take photos. And I never get to. And sometimes we never get to take photos of the things that are right in our own backyard. But this afternoon, I was able to get out and take some photos of this church that is almost 250 years old. This church was established in 1786, and we're gonna go photograph it. If you're wondering why I'm shooting more vertical than I am horizontal, that's because this road right here leads up to the church, and I wanna get more of that road leading up to that church as a leading line so people's eyes follow that road straight to that church, as compared to if I shoot horizontally, we're not gonna get as much of that road, we're gonna get more of the scenery on the sides, but that church is the main focus, so shooting vertically actually makes sense in this case. So this is the view. Sure, we have some power lines over to this side that we can edit out, but just look at that view. Look at those nice puffy clouds. We've got the green, we've got the cemetery right there, and we have the church right there, which is gonna be our main focus. And we're gonna use this drive as a leading line for our photos. Just a quick thing, make sure you know your settings before you're shooting, because this whole time I thought I was in single focus or continuous focus for autofocus, but I was in manual mode. So I have no idea if any of these shots actually came out. So I'm gonna have to redo them and then reinsert them into the video. So you're actually gonna see what it looks like with me doing the correct shot and retaking the ones on top of the car, the ones on this road. So just keep that in mind, because now I gotta redo everything, add some extra time onto it. And hopefully, you know, this light doesn't fade away too fast. It's the middle of the afternoon, but cloud coverage, all that can change. So just keep in mind, know your settings, know where your things are at, so that way you can get ready and shoot and not have to redo things like I'm about to have to do. So I've never been down here, so let's check it out. Right under that gate, we're gonna go. And you can see we've got the graveyard right there on our left-hand side. It's pretty cool, but that church coming up right there, now that's cool. So we're gonna try to find a place to park. I don't know if we're gonna have anything. We might have to park where we were just at and walk back in, but that is the church. And basically, we're probably gonna have to take all of our photographs outside, but that's okay. You see that? We can definitely work with that. It looks very, very nice. So when I got to the other side of the building, it's basically all gravestones, graveyard, and there's not really anywhere to park. There's nothing really special about this church. It's not like walking into a church in Europe where you would see this great elaborate inside, but we're still gonna walk up there and get some shots because, you know, small towns, they deserve the spotlight just as much as anybody else. And I bet you some of these gravestones are super, super old. So let's go see what we can get up here. So this is just the area up front. You see how cool that is? You see the kind of cool photograph we can get with something like that? Now this sign right here, it's like a information concerning church or cemetery called the church. We're gonna remove that in post. This is really cool. This just tells you that this church was organized late in the 18th century, held its first services in a brush arbor, and later constructed a log meeting house. This frame sanctuary, built between 1825 and 1830, was the second building to serve Shiloh. In 1836, Adam Gramling Jr. donated it and 3 acres to the church trustees, and then has the name of those trustees. So that's really cool that this church was here from 1786, and this building here is over 200 years old actually. So 200 years ago this year, they started building this. So that is a really cool thing. We're gonna photograph this building because not a lot of people are ever gonna get photograph this building. Now, we can't go inside this building. You see how small it is? It's just a small little building because most of these churches back then, that's all they could do. Everything's got locks on it. There's actually an outhouse all the way back there too. But let's photograph it from this angle really quick. So if you're wondering why I'm actually using the Fuji X100V versus my Sony or anything like that, it's because I actually love taking these kind of photos with these film simulations and kind of having like a vintage look to them to kind of make it feel like it's from a time in the past. And when you have these really cool old buildings and can do that as well, it just goes perfectly together. The one I'm using right now is called September Summer that you're seeing. End of summer, beginning of fall look to it. And it makes it just a really, really cool thing. And if you're wondering why I'm walking back over, it's because I didn't know if I could hit record. And if I was still walking around and doing this and I didn't hit record, I'd be pretty mad at myself because I've done that plenty of times. One of the things to remember when you're photographing is detail shots. It's so easy to just overlook the details and not do it. Now, on this one side right here, we actually have some really, really nice greenery that we can walk up and see. And because of what I'm using, it has this yellow tint, but it's not just the yellow tint that is making the great effect that you're seeing on these photos. I'm using a mist filter. So if you've never used a mist filter, it basically just has this halation it adds to your image. And with these cobwebs that we're gonna see right up here, it's gonna give us that very, very neat look. So you can see them right here. Look at those cobwebs. Look at all that. But we want some detailed shots, right? We want to show some more detail of this church and what's around it as well, because it's really nice for when you're posting on Instagram too, if that's your main focus or something like that. But you can see right here, we have this area right here. Look at all that greenery. And then right up there, we have that white. And with this kind of vintage yellow look, it's gonna come out perfect once we edit a little bit in post-processing. Another thing is to step back. You see where these benches are that I pointed out before? When we step back, look at how it looks now. It looks a little different. We can go down low, we could go up high, but we have these branches right here and they're green, right? Because it's a pine tree. And we've got this white here and then those clouds in the background, that blue sky. So it's gonna add some just nice color to bring this whole image together. And what's even better than that is it's gonna fill some of that empty space where these clouds are, resulting in some images like this. And we have this cool angle of the church right here that we're able to get. Just keep that in mind. No matter what you're doing, just go out and take some photos, have some fun. And here's our outhouse right here. Now this one will be interesting to photograph because, let's be honest, it's an outhouse. There's not much to it. This grass is a little higher than I would like, but we're gonna be able to get some really cool looks. And I actually like the way that looks right there from the Pocket 3, right at that angle, at that 20mm, but obviously I can't do that. So let's take some shots really quick and see what they look like on the Fuji. And one last thing we're gonna shoot is actually right here. Here's the outhouse, there's the church. I've got the Fuji set up, and we're just gonna photograph what that view probably would have been like back in the day. But as always, I appreciate you coming to hang out with me as I photographed this almost 250-year-old church. And I think we got some pretty cool photos out of it. And the cool thing about something like this is when you post them online, a lot of local people eat it up and it helps your business grow because they're seeing these old things that they pass by every single day and don't even think twice about. So think about that. They might not find it interesting at first, but once you photograph it and show it in a different light, they'll find it interesting and it helps build your rapport in the community and helps people see the kind of photographer you are. But as always, God bless. I'll see you in the next one.